Hello everyone, this is a quick review of Omega service for an Omega Speedmaster 3594.50. It is called the replica or the relaunch, and just going over what the experience was like, some of costs you face, and how long it took. So you received the watch back in this box. Inside is the watch. So this is a very beautiful piece. You get some testing of how it's running. So running at +5, air pressure, chest, and vacuum test. Assume for a dive watch they would dive test, and then all the extra parts. So in my case, they did replace the dial. Looks like one of the bridges, hands, and a bunch of the wheels actually from the movement. Looks like they were replaced. The crown, a few other things, and then the pushers. So they give you all these parts, gaskets. They even replaced the spring bars, it looks like, and the crystal. And then in terms of the watch itself, pretty much looks like a brand new watch. So I bought this watch. It was in need of service. It was running really rough. And if I can figure out how to splice pictures, I'll show you guys a picture from the time grapher, but it was running pretty much a minute or so late, and overall it was in pretty good condition. However, there were some signs of corrosion on the hands and on this Omega applied logo, which is common on used versions of this watch. I'm not sure if it's the way they sealed them, but if you look at used examples of this watch, you'll find a lot that have slight corrosion on the hands and dial. One thing to know, if it does have that, Omega will recommend you replace it. So that is an extra cost. So the dial was an extra cost to replace. So overall, all these parts that I showed were within the price of service for a chronograph, except for the dial. So the hands, gaskets, crystal, pushers, all the kind of components of the movement itself in the bridge were all within that service price, and then the only extra was the actual dial. And overall, you know, you could tell they polished the watch. It looks pretty much flawless. Here's the back. They polished the bracelet. It looks like the bezel was cleaned up a bit. So yeah, overall looks like a brand new watch. I really like this watch. I'll probably do a separate review on it itself. One thing to note on how long this took. So I took this to the New York City Omega Boutique. I dropped it off at the end of January. Because this watch, I had bought it from a private party. I'm not sure if this was a gray market watch originally. When they put it in the system, it did not come up in the system, which kind of scared me a little bit. It almost, I wasn't sure if they were insinuating this isn't authentic Omega watch. I was pretty sure it was authentic because I had opened it and checked the movement and everything matched up, but it was just interesting that they didn't have it in the system. It could be because of the age of the watch, or it did have its warranty stamped in Japan, so maybe that was it. So overall, dropped it off. They gave me an estimate that day. They pretty much said, they'll likely need to replace the dial and the hands, and then everything else should be in the service. And then they told me the wait would be around 3 to 6 months, which is fairly long. I heard from others to expect something like 14, 15 weeks. And when I called them, For an update, they pretty much told me to expect it in May, and that would be exactly 15 weeks. But actually, I got an email today, so I just picked this up today, and it was a month early. So it's almost April 1st. They promised it for May, and I received it pretty much April 1st. So I would say around 10 to 11 weeks is how long it took. Overall, I did want to go with Omega for this. I figured it's an older watch. They probably have all the parts, and I wanted to build some service history with them. Watch looks fantastic. I mean, it looks pretty much brand new. The cost for the service, you can look up on the Omega site. They list it, and that was pretty much it. So everything else was covered aside from the dial. Once again, I probably could have kept the dial. I'll see if I could put the picture, but all that was wrong with the dial was this little Omega logo. There was slight corrosion on it, but it's kind of nice to get the old dial, which they included, as well as kind of a brand new dial. So pretty much a brand new watch for me at this point. And yeah, really happy with the service. It is expensive, but definitely for an older piece. This is a watch from 1998. I think it's definitely worth it. Thanks.